Hello, and welcome back to the Boston Commune. This week's incredulous installment features commentary from Scott, Joe, Ellie, and myself, as well as a Patreon-exclusive interview with Comrade Spencer on Left-Wing Melancholia. Please share this content and enjoy your Epoch.
So Ellie is putting bagel bites in the oven, and then she will be on.
Welcome.
Okay.
To the Epoch.
We don't usually do intros, though.
I know.
We just start talking.
I know. It's called a cold open.
I know. I like it.
But what I want to do is, I already put this...
Hell.
Is there an owl in your house, bro?
No, it was my vape. It turns itself off after a couple minutes. And it vibrates, and I don't know how to turn that off, so that's sorry.
It has a mind of its own.
Well, it's programmed to turn off after 10 minutes, so it doesn't...
Way to kill the joke.
Welcome.
Threw it out a fourth-story window.
Yeah, you're welcome. So what do you want to do? Oh, shit. What do you want to do, Jesse?
Keep you on your toes. Keep you on your toes, Craig.
Jesse does this every week, Spencer. Sorry.
Craig.
Usually ends up on the show.
Craig.
He has fun with it.
Craig.
Should we begin seeing that it's after 8:15? Stop saying Craig.
Perfect timing.
Well, there we go. We're about to get rolling.
Woo.
Oh, we need to do a mic check.
Ellie.
1, 2, 3. It's me, LG.
Fall at the end?
The Epoch of...
Well done.
All right, we can...
Begin?
Yeah.
Joe,
Yes.
what do you know?
Many things.
This is the
There was a U.S. Senate primary in Delaware where a leftist challenger lost quite badly. But what's notable is just how low the turnout was because of how small the state of Delaware is. Chris Coons was primaried by activist Jessica Scarnane, and she got 27.1% of the vote. However, there were only 119,861 votes cast in a U.S. Senate primary. For perspective, in the Democratic primary for the Massachusetts 1st Congressional District, beginning of this month, there were a grand total of 143,393 votes cast. How small Delaware is. In other news, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died at the age of 87.
That's the big news.
She died at 87, and the Republicans will almost certainly have her replacement confirmed to the bench by Christmas at the latest, given that even if, unlike during the Kavanaugh confirmations where 2 Democrats voted in favor of confirming Kavanaugh, even if the Democrats remain a united front, that gives them only 47 votes. Senators Susan Collins of Maine and...
Hold on a second. Which were the 2 Democrats? Was it I have no idea. If I could guess anybody, Joe Manchin would be one of those people.
It was Joe Manchin. Actually, wait a minute. There was, technically only one because Manchin voted for him, but another Democrat voted present, and I think that was Feinstein.
A fucking coward.
Lisa Murkowski of Alaska has also said that she won't support nominating a replacement for Ginsburg before the Supreme Court, and that has some credibility to it because she did not vote for Kavanaugh. Actually, she was the only Republican not to vote to confirm Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court 2 years earlier, and I wouldn't say... Out of Collins' case, it's not out of the kindness of her heart that she's I'm not going to support a nomination. It's because she's made the cynical calculation that the wine moms who have wanted her head on a stick since she voted for Kavanaugh 2 years ago, appeasing the wine moms will be critical to her reelection. That is the calculation she's made. That's why she's not supporting a replacement before January. And in the case of Murkowski, she didn't vote for Kavanaugh. And also, she doesn't really need to give a fuck what Republican leadership thinks because she can get herself reelected without the Republican Party. She does not need the party apparatus and the party machine to get herself reelected, given that they left her for dead in 2010 when she lost her primary when she was running for a second term in 2010. She lost her primary to a Tea Party candidate, but she ended up winning the general election as a write-in candidate candidate. She got a plurality of Alaskans to be able to figure out how to spell the last name Murkowski on a ballot, which is impressive, not to mention, well, the spelling part, but also
It's a little impressive.
She is one of the only people in American history to win a U.S. Senate election via the write-in.
Is there a ferret scurrying around your mic by any chance?
No, I am holding paper in my hand, so.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Nope.
I can let the sound of paper go. It's fine.
No pens in sight, though. I just wanted to say one last thing about Murkowski. Not only did she win as a write-in in 2010, she was reelected in 2016 with 44.6% of the vote. A Libertarian came in third at 21%. An Independent came in second at 21%, and the Democrat got 14%. I thought that was notable.
So do you think, Joe, they will go for it during the lame duck if Trump loses?
I see them doing it next month. I mean, the administration says it's going to be announcing their nominee on Sunday, Saturday. So I could see them pushing this through before the election, or they could do it in December. From their perspective, it's a good campaign tactic. It's here's a carrot.
Yeah, but they're not. It's interesting because they're not running on that, or he hasn't started to at least run on that, saying if you reelect me, I can protect the Supreme Court. Obviously, I think a lot of Trump's followers are thinking that right now, but I think even if Trump loses, I think they're going to try to pull some shit where they'll do it in December, they'll do it in January, they'll do it some point before whoever the fuck the next president is inaugurated, so early January,
because the Senate's so important. Even though it's an unpopular position for people on the left to say, but I've been saying this this whole election cycle that I just don't, especially since March after Super Tuesday, but I just don't think the Democrats are going to get the Senate back. It doesn't seem realistic because this cycle.
This cycle?
Because the Democratic Party went out of its way to anoint and coronate, and move heaven and earth to get the most conservative, reactionary candidates in Democratic Senate primaries in the swing states as the nominee. They did this in Texas. They did this in North Carolina. They did this in Iowa. They did this in Montana. Almost all of the major swing states. They did this in Colorado, where a state where everybody kind of knew that that seat's going to get flipped blue because Colorado was moved so far to the left since 2014 when the last Senate election for that seat was held. And they
did it in Kentucky, didn't they?
They moved heaven and earth to get John Hickenlooper, the guy who drank fracking fluid and whose whole campaign was about screaming the top of every hill about how evil socialism is when he ran for president in a doomed attempt at that. They moved heaven and earth to get him elected over the former Speaker of the House in Colorado who was for Medicare for all, Green New Deal, free college tuition for all public universities in the country. They moved heaven and earth to get that guy elected to Colorado. They did everything they could to get McGrath nominated in Kentucky. They dumped $25 million into getting Cal Cunningham the Senate nomination in North Carolina against a black state senator who was running on Medicare for all, the Green New Deal, and a minimum wage of $15 an hour. They did this in Texas where they dumped tens upon tens of millions of dollars trying to get MJ Hagar nominated to the Senate, which ultimately going to be a doomed attempt to knock off John Cornyn, the Senate Majority Whip. And in Iowa, they put in a lot of energy making Teresa Greenfield the Democratic nominee for Senate in Iowa, despite the fact that she's a real estate executive who was also curiously endorsed by Elizabeth Warren, which strikes me as a Freudian slip.
There's something I do want to ask. I want to talk about this for a second. If Amy McGrath beats McConnell, what is the reality if that happens? Is that good, better for us? Is she still get into it, Joe?
I think it changes that much, to be honest, because
that's what I figured. Is it wouldn't really change too much. Okay.
I mean, McConnell is simply getting rid of him isn't going to make everything go away because he will simply be replaced by another Republican Senate leader. And also, Amy McGrath is basically
abolish the Senate.
Basically a Republican, anyways.
Doesn't she identify as a Republican?
She identifies as a Trump Democrat, and
a Trump Democrat.
What the fuck? Does that mean?
Is this a thing now?
And like the third day of her campaign, she attacked Mitch McConnell from the right for not supporting Trump enough and not supporting Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court aggressively. It's like the third day of her campaign.
The benefit is so minimal. I mean, she can't even inflate her neck pouch to assert dominance in the Senate if she wins.
Exactly.
I don't think she wins anyways because McConnell, being unpopular has never stopped him from getting reelected. He's got tens of millions of dollars in super PAC money. He's got massive campaign coffers. He's got the Kochs the Kochs really like McConnell, and they're going to dump tens of millions of dollars in super PAC money to get him reelected, which is a lot considering the fact that Kentucky is a poor state already. That just magnifies the impact that kind of spending will have in a race like that.
It's got pros in different area codes.
I just don't see the Democrats getting a net gain of 4 because they're guaranteed to lose 1 seat in Alabama. So you're already down 1. And if Democrats win, say, Arizona, Colorado, and Maine, which they're expected to do, that gets you up to 2. So basically, the Democrats would be right back where they were 2 years ago in 2018.
The Alabama Republican candidate, is that the football coach guy?
No, he is Tommy Tuberville.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
That's his name.
Yes.
That's his real name?
That's a funny name.
It is.
And he doesn't have a band of a bunch of guys with mop tops?
I can't remember if he's a football coach, but I mean, the only reason the Democrats won that seat in the first place is because the Republicans made Jeff Sessions the Attorney General, and then when he vacated the seat to become the AG, he was replaced by the state's Attorney General, who is in the process of investigating the state's governor for fraud, among other things, and so he was made the temporary senator to get that investigation to go away, and then that state attorney general, who became senator by the name of Luther Strange, he ended up losing to the primary to Roy Moore, and then the Democrats.
Luther Strange?
Yeah, he was like a 6
fucking
foot
comic book name.
This is beautiful.
What's even more insane is that the guy was 6'4" and pale as fuck.
Wow.
And so Luther Strange loses the primary to Roy Moore, and then, Doug Jones beat Roy Moore by 1.5 points. And the only reason that he won that race is because Roy Moore was an alleged child molester. What's actually more hilarious is that 2.1% of voters in that election wrote in the name of the head coach of the University of Alabama, Nick Saban, and 2.1% was larger than the margin of victory in that race.
Oh, yeah. So just to interject, Tuberville, the very first sentence in his Wikipedia is that he's a former football coach.
I always forget
on what level? Pee-wee football or like college or NFL? What are we talking about?
Backyard.
University of Mississippi.
Oh,
it's from next door.
Next door?
Next state over.
Right, we're talking about, yeah, Kentucky.
Alabama.
Yeah.
Alabama. I know what the South is. Come on, guys.
But I just don't think they're going to get there. They maybe might win the Senate race in Montana because their idiot governor, who's term limited, is running for Senate after he failed miserably to run for president. Steve Bullock, who's also a generic centrist guy. I just don't see them getting the 4. I really would like to see it happen, but I don't think it will. It would be Paula Jean Swearengin in West Virginia. I would like to see that happen, but the state's gone so incredibly red in the last 20 years that it's hard to see that happening. I'd like to see it happen, but it probably won't.
All right, so I wasn't very complete with my University of Mississippi. He was coach of 5 universities.
Which guy?
That was his career. Tuberville? He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He has absolutely no knowledge of politics in general.
I don't think that's going to be a problem for
football.
him, though, because it's a presidential.
He knows football.
It's a presidential cycle. It's a presidential year, and so Trump will also be on the ballot. So I feel like Trump's just going to be able to drag this guy across the finish line.
The end zone, you mean?
A lot of
ching
crossed. So
he's gonna bring him home. He's gonna round third base, and then he's gonna make a slam dunk.
We're stuck in this insane situation because of the vanity and hubris of a single individual who refused to retire. I am looking at this Reuters article posted on July 31st, 2014, in which literally the first paragraph says, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg has a message for liberals who've been saying the 81-year-old should step down while Democratic President Barack Obama is in office so we can appoint her successor. Who are you going to get that will be better than me? Referring to the political polarization in Washington and the unlikelihood that another liberal in her mold could be confirmed by the Senate, Ginsburg, the senior liberal on the 9-member bench, asked rhetorically, quote, "So tell me, who the president could have nominated this spring that you would rather see on the court than me," end quote. The article goes on to further highlight the fact that Ginsburg already had 2 bouts of cancer in 1999 and 2009, and that she previously has told Reuters that she, quote, wanted to remain on the court until she matches the tenure of Justice Louis Brandeis, who retired at the age of 82 in 1939 after 23 years on the court, which that would have worked out to her retiring in 2016.
Sounds like a very weird woman.
Because of the fact she wanted to be on the court for 23 years, she passed on retiring when she could have under a Democratic president and a Democratic Senate in 2014 at the age of 81, because she didn't want to retire until 2016. But because of that, we're stuck with a far-right, Republican probably getting put on the court, because in 2014, Senate Democrats got wiped out and they lost 9 seats in one night. She's been on the court since 1993 when Bill Clinton nominated her to the Supreme Court. So she'd already been on the court for 2 decades. She could have retired in 2014.
I would wager that she was already embalmed by 2017.
I found this particularly annoying is everyone complained when Bernie first announced he was running for president in 2019 that he was too old to be president. He's too old, he's 78, that's too old. But in 2010, when Democrats had a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate, 60 seats, the first time in 20 years that either party had achieved that kind of majority. She was only 77, but they had 60 seats in the Senate, and I guess so. She's not too old to retire, but Bernie Sanders, who was only a year older when he ran in 2019, too old to be president. Interesting how that plays out.
I'm going to pretend my feelings aren't hurt, that nobody laughed at my embalming joke.
I was going to build on it and say things about her being propped up by a pile of cats or something. But
thanks. Scott, what do you give us? Add to this. Give us a quip.
Bitch should have retired. I don't know.
Thanks. Thanks, Scott.
Former NSA General Keith Alexander, who is the head of the National Security Agency during the Snowden leaks, he's going to be joining the board of directors at Amazon. So I guess as if Amazon needed more help, as if they needed more help surveilling people.
That is legitimately depressing. Yeah. We feel bad for Amazon workers. Liberate Amazon workers. Steal all of Jeff Bezos' money.
It was also kind of really disturbing is that his appointment to their board of directors comes as Amazon recently just lost out a $10 billion cloud computing contract with the Pentagon to Microsoft.
Woohoo!
This reporting comes courtesy of The Verge, theverge.com. On the same theme of really kind of insane things, Pepsi has decided to come out with a drink to, quote, aid sleep as consumers struggle with stress. This is coming from CNBC. Pepsi executives are quoted as saying, "Given everything that's going on, now is the perfect time to launch this product in this nascent category of beverages." And so basically it's we're going to capitalize on how work people are being worked to death, essentially, to numb the pain of everyday life, as if alcohol doesn't exist already.
Some people can't drink alcohol for various reasons.
Yeah, Joe.
So it's a chill out drink. It's Pepsi numb the pain, fuck the pain away. Pepsi the pain away. Is that what it is?
Yeah, essentially, I find it just kind of darkly hilarious.
What is it called?
It's just NyQuil.
Does it say what it's actually called?
They're calling it Driftwell. And CNBC claims that it is meant to help consumers relax and unwind before bed. The enhanced water drink will contain 200 milligrams of L-theanine and 10% of the daily value of magnesium.
What? Those things help you focus. That's what you take with stimulants.
Well, sometimes you can sometimes stuff that helps you focus, like green tea, also helps you. You need to focus and then you can chill. I don't know. It's probably not going to work for everyone, but neither does, alcohol or whatever.
If anybody can take the audio of Ellie saying Pepsi the pain away and make a remix, that'd be very nice. I would very much appreciate that.
It It's all in the teachers of peaches, etc.
Yes. Joe, do you have any more stories?
I guess L-theanine is an amino acid that's found in green and black teas and some kind of mushrooms. According to the article, a few studies have suggested the ingredient can improve sleep quality and can help reduce physical symptoms of stress. It should be Driftwell will be available nationwide.
All right, we don't need we don't need to advertise this product. All right.
No, I just think it's fucked up.
It sounds great. I want to drink it.
Pepsi the pain away. You'll be able to sleep.
Yeah, Pepsi.
Fucking
us. We
it's
are
terrible.
We are giving you so much. We're giving you like how many people listen to this? 12?
Yeah.
Like 25, I think.
You're gonna get a dozen fucking hard sales from this.
Also, Maxine Waters. Imagine.
Maxine Waters listens to this podcast. She's one of the 17.
Did you tag her?
No. Again, I'm not about harassing fucking politicians on Twitter.
She shouldn't have got a Twitter.
You have the anonymity of it being the show's Twitter, so I don't know. But then I'll get like the show's Twitter banned, and then that's not good, so...
Whatever, we're on all the other platforms. We don't need Twitter. Twitter sucks.
Maxine Waters, I'm just going to start tagging you in one random tweet per day.
The last story, current event story, comes courtesy of The Guardian. I saw this morning and I thought it was amusing. It's not really related to politics, but it's funny, at least to me.
Pepsi is related to politics, though?
No, I just find that like really disturbing as like a sign of like the death rattle of late capitalism. At least that's how I chose to interpret it.
Well, what's going on in The Guardian?
Headline, cult leader who claims to be reincarnation of Christ arrested in Russia. He was a former traffic officer, and he's been running a cult in Siberia for since the Berlin Wall fell, which is kind of funny.
What does he do?
He claimed he experienced an awakening as the Soviet Union began to collapse. He founded a movement in 1991 known as the Church of the Last Testament. According to the article, several thousand followers live in a series of remote hamlets in the region of Krasnoyak region of Siberia. Converts to the cult have included professionals from all across Russia as well as pilgrims from abroad. He's quoted as saying, quote, "I am not God. It's a mistake to see Jesus as God, but I am the living word of God. Everything that God wants to say, he says through me," he said to The Guardian in 2002. Russian media reported that the original ideology of the cult, Vissarion claimed Christ was watching over people from an orbit close to Earth and that the Virgin Mary was running Russia, and he later declared himself to be Christ. Commune mixes a selection of rites from Orthodox Christianity with environmental edicts and a series of other rules. Veganism is enforced and monetary exchange is banned inside the commune. Followers wear austere clothing and count years starting from the year 1961, in which Vissarion was born, and Christmas has been replaced by a feast on January 14th, which is his birthday. It's not clear what will happen to his disciples now that the leader has been arrested, nor is it clear why the authorities decided to do this. The official Russian Orthodox Church has long condemned him, but officials have largely left him alone out of just finding him to be irrelevant.
They don't fuck with Vissarion. Vissarion's original name was Sergei Turup. I looked it up.
Wait, are you talking about the character from, Game of Thrones?
No. The guy calls himself Vissarion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, his actual name is Sergei Torup. He was a traffic officer.
So that's what God wants you to know, like your taillight's out or whatever?
Yeah.
I guess.
Look at a picture of the guy. He does look very Jesus-y. I'll give him that. He's got the hair.
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
He's got the beard.
We're living in the time of the new Christ.
What the fuck?
The new Christ.
Ellie, did you want to move on to your segment?
Yeah, it's just a quick one today. I've got one really depressing thing and one thing that brought me a lot of joy. You can make this shit up with Comrade. So first of all, Vice is reporting as of yesterday that the headline was "Gig Economy Company Launches Uber but for Evicting People," which is, so there's a company called...
Holy shit.
Right, here we are. This is the shit that this segment was made for. There's a company now called Civil. It's CIVVL, because of course you have to spell everything wrong. And they are, I guess, basically, it is like Uber. It's like, ooh, flexible schedule, be hired as an eviction crew. You can either, if you want to work for civil, you can be a process server and serve paperwork to people that are getting evicted. It looks like you can also literally be hired as a crew that like gets people out of their homes. It's pretty ridiculous. The copy on their website says stuff like, since COVID-19, many Americans fell behind in all aspects. What else does it say? Unemployment is at a record high, and many cannot or simply are not paying rent and mortgages. We are being contracted by frustrated property owners and banks to secure foreclosed residential properties, and they are looking for self-motivated individuals with positive attitudes. Do you have a positive attitude?
Positive attitude while I throw you out on the street. Thank you, Jesse.
Exactly. I guarantee, as someone who has worked in an eviction law firm and not by choice, I can guarantee you your positive attitude will not stay positive for very long.
I did not envision
minutes of positivity, or
what?
Like how long is this positive attitude supposed to last for? Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour?
Yeah, your mileage may vary, right?
however long the pills last.
However long until your next Pepsi fuck the pain away or whatever it is.
I did not envision the fascist unification of capitalism and the state coming in the form of like a fucking gig economy job. But
well, you better believe it.
It's 2020, so
yeah.
It's 2020. We now have here's a gig economy job if you want to be like a repo man for some grumpy landlords.
And it's called civil. That's very, very sus.
Yeah,
They're the imposter.
For some reason.
you don't even need like departments in the government anymore. You can just fucking create some kind of fucking gig job.
Yeah. In other news, according to Twitter user Lou Bega Vivo, which is not Lou Bega Vivo, I wish
very
it was.
reputable sort.
It's just a guy named Nick. He says the Michaels website, that's the Michaels craft store, it has a feature where you can chat live with other Michaels shoppers, and it's changed my life. And then he went on to add some great screenshots.
Wait, it changed your life or it changed his life?
It changed his life. It also changed my life when I read about it, but it changed his life first. He's just on this tweet. He put some screenshots of conversations he's had with people on this chat. Like somebody was saying, "Would anyone want to meet up at Michael's and fist fight me?" And he replied to them, "My reach wouldn't be long enough to maintain social distancing guidelines per the CDC, so I'm afraid an in-person fist fight would be too unsafe for now." The other person said, "Bro, I'm on stilts. All good." And then he said, "I think you're supposed to be 6 feet apart, not 6 feet up, but that's sick as hell, bro." And then he said, "Looking for a coffin." Somebody else said, "They may have decorations coffins for Halloween, but if you're looking for a full-size coffin, you may be out of luck here, buddy." He says, "I'll make it fit." And then somebody else was like, "Anyone know when my life is supposed to get better?" And he said, "It won't," heart emoji. And the person said, "Damn, okay." Anyway, I would totally encourage anybody to go on Michaels.com.
It's like black-pilled post-secret. I love it.
Yeah, just talk to other confused Michaels shoppers and see what kind of connections you make. Maybe you'll find love.
It sounds like the meme where it's like the light of the tunnel, the light at the end of the tunnel of COVID, and it's just like Darth Vader in the hallway scene of Rogue One.
Star Wars reference.
I didn't know that Michael's was a place, and I thought like when you said other shoppers at Michael's, I thought like you meant like just some guy named Michael.
Yeah, come on down to Michael's. You can buy things. That's all for me.
Outro.
My segment doesn't have an outro. I think I once said I'm Ellie, and that's wait. You can't I'm Ellie and you can't make that shit up. Which I only say because when I was in college, I had a friend named Seth Drick who once said that he wanted to make a TV show and just call it That's Fucking Stupid. And at the end of every episode he would say, "I'm Seth Drick and that's fucking stupid."
I endorse that.
Seth, if you're out there, I miss you.
I'd watch that.
Jesse, did you have anything you wanted to
I do.
Oh, all right.
I do indeed. And you touched on it last week.
I did.
You did. I'm Jesse, and this is Rabid Radlibs. The phrase I wanted to touch on this week is the Nordic countries are the only, quote, real socialist nations. So if we're going to be petty about this, as most online discourse tends to be, so the Nordic countries consist officially of Finland, Sweden, Iceland, and the kingdoms of Denmark and Norway. I think first it'd be helpful to talk what is socialism. So my perspective on this is a sort of orthodox Marxist-Leninist one. Thus, I would say that socialism is a transitionary period between capitalism and communism, which is facilitated through the proletarian dictatorship. And in this phase, social ownership of the means of production is embodied by central planning and worker councils rather than by private markets and union negotiations. Production of goods and services are tailored to meet human need rather than to maximize profit through manipulating supply and demand. Please note that subsidies or a basic welfare state are not socialism. Socialism is not when the government does something. When the government does something.
Callback.
So I would say that these Nordic nations are, in general, they're small, overwhelmingly white nation states, meaning they have a monoculture. Their financial models are explicitly founded on the Nordic, quote, universalist principles, which is typically characterized by the following things: a social democratic welfare state with mixed economy, neo-corporatist collective bargaining coupled with robust public sector, as in education, housing, transit, healthcare, and pensions, with overwhelmingly private ownership. And the only exception to this last point is Norway has a mostly state-owned oil industry. They have 2/3 of the stock in, I forget what the name of the conglomerate is, but they do a fuck ton of resource extraction. The company is called Equinor, formerly Statoil and Norsk Hydro. And the labor union density is greater than 50% in all of these territories. And it's the lowest in Norway because they abolished this thing called the Ghent system in 1938. And in that system, unions were primarily responsible for funding the welfare systems. Finland and Iceland are both parliamentary republics, while Norway, Sweden, and Denmark are still actually constitutional monarchies. Public programs are not solely funded through tax dollars or even union dues. Their industries are dependent upon the profitability of their exports, particularly oil, and foreign investments in both directions, meaning from other countries and into corporations that are situated in other countries, particularly Europe. State capital grows through investments in conglomerates such as Volvo, Electrolux, and Nokia. This is not to say that these states are fraudulent or evil, but just that they demonstrate the relative success of mixed economies versus something like we have in the States, like neoliberal capitalism. So they are quite different from, say, Cuba or Vietnam, which have embraced Marxist principles as a program for overcoming the tyranny of colonial oppression. These latter two nations, Cuba and Vietnam, are protected and controlled by a vanguard party. They are both under massive pressure to liberalize, sanctioned and demonized by the West, and were constantly under siege, particularly in the Cold War era, and they both had to essentially rebuild without aid from any imperial powers, although, before the collapse of the Soviet Union, they were pretty friendly with Cuba in terms of mutual aid. They also have outstanding public health sectors. I've talked about it before, but Vietnam's unparalleled response to the COVID crisis and Cuba's innovation regarding medicine and their history of international medical aid, particularly to Africa. And they also are comprised of mostly people of color, and their cultures are very distinct from our traditional Western cultures. And all of those characteristics are in stark contrast with the Nordic model. And they were also explicitly founded on dialectical and historical materialism. So my two rhetorical questions to the listener are, what exactly makes the European nations more authentically socialist? And could it be that liberals would be more comfortable if socialists were actually just fighting for another white social democracy?
You mean like if we excluded brown people?
Not necessarily, just that there are very few immigrants of color to the Nordic nations.
True.
We might get more like black metal out of it. It's the only thing I can really think.
That's true. That is true. There is a lot of good music. Like one of my favorite bands, Cranium, can say for sure they're like from Norway.
There's less positive examples like, Varg, but, it's fine.
It seems like most of the bands you like, Jesse, are like some part of the human anatomy. And then like some suffix of the word indicating like the removal of that part of the anatomy.
Right, for sure. Like visceral disgorge.
Yeah.
Or cranial excision. Yeah, gutrectomy, vulvectomy.
Gutrectomy.
Epicardiectomy.
Damn.
Oh, I could, if I went through my Spotify, yeah.
I'm gonna start a death metal band called like Kittens and Sunshine.
Party Cannon. And they also, the logo is like bubble letters. So whenever you see like one of those big death metal fests, Party Cannon just sticks out like a fucking sore thumb.
Beautiful.
Anyway, that was Rabid Radlibs.
People find literal monarchies to be like socialism.
Government. That's why. Government.
When the government does something.
Yeah, that's socialism.
I know, to boomers, like the government has done something. Oh, it's socialism.
Yeah, like if anybody takes care of you, they're clearly a communist.
It makes me think of that meme of like the guy with the butterfly, and like the butterfly is like being traded with like basic like humanity and decency, and the guy's like, wait, is this communism?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's a good one.
Absolutely. And again, these countries, these Nordic countries, I'm not saying anything particularly bad about them. I just wouldn't call them socialist, let alone uphold them as the gold standard for what socialism is considered to be.
I mean, at the very least, equating that with socialism is like you're radically like lowering the bar of expectations of like what we should be trying to achieve at the very least.
Right, like even just more union membership in the United States.
No, we should bring back monarchy, and then we'll have social.
Right, sorry. What I meant to say was install a queen.
Yeah.
And,
by the way,
listen...
I'll talk shit about those countries. Sweden, you did. With your fucking midsummer and shit.
In place of a dark lord, you would have a queen.
Back in like January and February 2017, when the Boston Globe was literally running op-eds that like headlined, they were literally like making the argument that like the United States should like return to being like a dominion of the UK, and that we should go back to having the Windsor family be like our monarchy and head of state. It was like, Trump won, so we want to bring the globe, we want to bring back the monarchy, so we have like a consistent, stable government.
Who was arguing this in the Globe?
I forget who exactly it was, but I remember reading this article.
Very bizarre take. Like, it was a few years ago? Still fucking bizarre ass take.
It was like January.
That's like a dark enlightenment take. That's very... Anyways.
It was like 2 weeks after Trump was inaugurated.
I think 2 of the 3
I can't.
highest grossing corporations in Norway are actually just like shell corporations for a single man. And I can't remember that guy's name. Maybe I should look that up.
It's Varg Vargas. It's very...
Wait, that's his real name?
He's the black metal Nazi who killed
the
other guy. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
I'm glad you knew his real name so that I didn't have to.
Varg Vargas isn't his real name. That's
just
the name that he goes by, and it's not his legal name either.
Wow,
he has like 10. He has like 10 different names. He's a fucking insane man, and a murderer, and a Nazi, and a pagan. Don't pay attention to him. Burzum had some good albums, but he sucks. So
I think we did tell Spencer we were going to talk for like 20 minutes, and it's been like 45 minutes.
Sorry about that. Spencer, are you there?
I'm here.
There we go. Now to take the show in a drastic left turn from Pepsi, sex, and Nordic monarchies. We have a guest this week. We have Spencer Brown from Boston DSA. And we're going to talk about the book and the concept of Left-Wing Melancholia. It's a book by Enzo Traverso. Is that how you say it? Is that correct? How I said that?
Good enough.
Good enough. That's good. Thank you.
Spencer, do you want to be identified by your full name or just your first name or what?
Sure,
Either way is fine.
Okay.
I mean, maybe keep it in there. I do want Maxine to contact me personally. So after I appear on the
I
show.
would keep it in. That sounds like the plan.
And so this is going to be a bit of like a back and forth discussion between Spencer and myself. And of course, everyone else, you can get involved. But the first question I have is the basic of like, how would you characterize, how would you define left-wing melancholia, both like in your own sort of way and also like how the book covers it and like the method and approach that the book takes and like what sources, what influences is Traverso like drawing from?
Yeah, so to answer that question, I mean, I'm really going to be basing on what Traverso says and how he defines things, because to talk about left-wing melancholia, we first have to, define, well, what does he mean by left-wing and what does he mean by melancholia? So just to kind of lay out basic definitions, he says, using kind of, classic academic fancy language, that he defines the left in ontological terms, that movements that struggled for change according to the principle of equality. So that's his just basic definition of the left. He doesn't get he gives concrete examples, but he does not go further in defining the left beyond that. And then melancholy. So to define melancholy, he relies a lot on a classic essay by Freud called Mourning and Melancholy, where Freud defines kind of these like ideal type differences between mourning and melancholy, and how at one level they can be very similar, but they also have key divergences, and he kind of traces this out. And so when we hear the term melancholy, Traverso doesn't mean depression. He doesn't mean anxiety. He's trying to talk about something that it's not, I don't know, maybe it doesn't fit exactly into how we think about mental states. Because there's a lot of talk about depression, there's a lot of talk about anxiety, but he's not linking left-wing melancholy to either of those two things. It's in fact very different from both. And that for him, melancholy, it's not just a concept. He calls it a feeling. He refers to it as a state of the soul, a field of emotions. He says it's not a closed universe of suffering, that it's this, I'm going to quote him here. He says, it's a constellation of emotions and feelings that envelop a historical transition. So beautifully phrased, but also can be vague at times. But I guess to define melancholy, we have to go back to Freud's 1918 essay, where Freud, just to summarize this essay really, really briefly, he says, when we're mourning, we've lost some loved object. This object can be literally a person, when like a loved one, a family member, a lover, a friend passes away, or it can be an abstraction, an idea, that we can still mourn those things. Melancholy, the melancholic patient, Freud defines this person as, like mourning, this patient knows whom they have lost. But unlike in the case of mourning, the melancholic patient doesn't know what they have lost within themselves. So this is his starting point for analyzing being on the left as specifically having almost a melancholic tenor to it, and how it can't be reduced to mourning, it can't be reduced to depression. It has to be analyzed in its own terms as specifically melancholy.
You can hear the rest on Patreon.
So thank you for that, Spencer.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So let's transition again, take another violent left turn, and talk about a movie. Why not?
Do it.
I'm going to do it.
Comrade Scott tells you what to watch.
The movie I'm going to recommend is a movie that Spencer told me to watch, actually, which is Jean-Luc Godard's British Sounds. Watch it. You should watch that. It's good. But also watch Charles Burnett's The Glass Shield. It's about police corruption. That's very relevant. It's good.
I have a TV recommendation, which has nothing to do with any of this shit. I've been watching the show Big Mouth on Netflix, which I guess has been around for a couple years. I had no idea. It has John Mulaney, who's a comic I've enjoyed, and it has Nick Kroll, who's one of the guys from The League.
His
He's also
dad
a writer.
worked for the CIA.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Hilarious.
Shit.
But keep going.
Well, that's about it. Except it's a animated show about some kids going through puberty, and it's actually very cute and funny. It's extremely raunchy, but it's kids, so it's funny. I don't know. I think people will relate to it.
What's fucked up, but like probably not related? Caillou?
Yeah, my niece watches that, or she
Does
What is
that?
that?
Does Caillou have like cancer or
What is
alopecia or something?
You know, I
Never heard
grew
of
up
this.
watching that, and that honestly didn't occur to me.
We're
until
back, baby.
I think I was like 16 or 17, and I was like I was in like my junior English class in high school, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it just popped into my head. Why the fuck is Caillou bald?
What is Caillou? Someone explain to me what the fuck you guys are talking about.
It's a Canadian children's TV show that like ran on PBS when I was growing up in the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's in like French and English, maybe, or maybe only English. I forget. Caillou is
No,
like
it's
a French name.
French and English, because it was like
How is it
Canadian.
spelled?
It's like CAILLOU or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here we
Grab
go.
on that shit,
Okay.
man.
I
Alright,
never
Scott
heard.
tells you what to watch. Watch Caillou.
First question on Google
Figure
is
out why he has no hair.
leukemia. Let's find out.
Survey says.
Google says Caillou is the despicable, spineless 4-year-old boy who cannot do anything. Jesus fucking judgmental. He can't grow hair, not
What,
because
does
he can't.
I know people that can't grow
answering
hair. That's the thing.
No, this is definitely this is from SB Nation, by the way. So Caillou is a despicable, spineless 4-year-old who cannot do anything. He can't grow hair, not because he has cancer or progeria or anything, but because he sucks. And he even has his own body. And even his own body recognizes that he does not deserve hair or food or love.
Wow.
Thank you, Google.
Okay. Thank you, SB Nation.
Sounds great.
Holy shit, yo. I did not expect.
Who is SB Nation?
SB Nation?
Yeah, the entity that came up with that assessment.
They're sports.
That little gem of an
They're
analysis.
sports, bro.
Wow,
No,
that seems very random.
They
Like
are
a sports outlet.
Yeah,
A
they're sports
outlet would be
site.
obsessed with Caillou.
They employ John Boyce. He produces a lot of good movies. Oh, let's recommend The Bob Emergency and Fighting in the Age of Loneliness. Those are good too.
Oh, I just thought of a current event that I didn't bring up during Joe's segment, but the 988 initiative, which is like an emergency service. So instead of dialing 911, you can dial 988 for the suicide prevention hotline. That passed both the House and the Senate.
That's pretty dope.
The House at around 8:30, so while I was still doing current events, overwhelmingly passed a stopgap funding bill to keep the government funded until December 11th because they voted 359 to 57. AOC actually voted present on the bill. It's for some reason because the vote happened only a couple hours ago. There's very little information on the internet of what she is in the bill, but she voted present.
If you click your pen one more time.
I actually don't have a pen in my hand. But like
Maybe it's you, Jesse. Maybe you are the pen.
Everybody wants to mute it, Joe. You can't just keep saying you didn't have a...
There really isn't that much information on what's actually in the bill. But the government, if they don't actually pass this through the Senate, the government's gonna run out of money in 8 days. And we're gonna go into another shutdown.
Dope.
So this bill keeps the
want to
lights
shut
on.
down. Shut it down.
Open up this fucking pit.
But
420, baby.
this keeps the lights on until December 11th, so they can have this fight again during the lame duck session.
Deserve no lights.
No lice.
No
Honestly,
lights.
I'm gonna be so entertained by them.
We
going
have all the lights so we can rave. See, we're just riffing now. It's fucking late.
I'm gonna be so
Had
entertained
a brutal
by
conversation.
I'm gonna be so entertained by them going through duking it out over potential government shutdown during the lame duck session right before Christmas. It's gonna be the fucking funniest thing ever.
Will there be a Christmas this year?
No.
Will America be a thing this year?
Santa.
Bring on the Black Friday death stampede.
Hell yeah.
Fuck, I'm gonna have to work on Black Friday, aren't I?
Let's all go to Michael's and fist fight
Buy
each other.
fabrics. Oh yeah,
I
go
also-
to Michael's on the store.
Get on
Okay.
stilts, fist fight
I also
each
had a
other.
friend who worked at Michael's who said it was terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe don't go to Michael's.
Don't go to Michael's and get a job there. Definitely.
What we can do though. What was that?
The landlords.
What?
Eat the landlords.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That means you would. My parents are landlords. Don't really want them to get eaten, but forces beyond my control.
You know, I gotta say, I feel a little bit better about Hassan Lecky, like our rescinding our endorsement.
This is the Patreon shit.
Absolutely.
No, dude, no. We can leave this part in. I mean, I feel a little bit better about signing up as a volunteer and never hearing back because I wrote, what did I put, Joe? I said, like, my interests were in grinding up.
She asked us to volunteer at the Super Tuesday watch party, and you were like, I'm always here for, like, the proletarian revolution.
Oh, no, I said grinding up the bourgeoisie into fertilizer.
Oh, yeah.
And then you never heard back.
I never heard back.
I'm
not
kind of
a
jealous 'cause
single
I got
email.
emails, like, every day.
No tankies allowed.
Well, ain't nothing new. Scott, take us out.
Take us out, sir.
Taking us out. My name is Scott. You can find me online on the tweets and on the Insta. Joe, what the fuck are you doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing?
You're like shuffling papers. What are you doing?
Oh,
Like, do a little jig.
I just keep moving a piece of paper back and forth.
Moving book slightly to the left.
Why?
I'm not really consciously noticing me doing it. This is just merely my ADHD manifesting late at night.
Joe, who are you? Tell us who you are. Or don't, whatever.
Give me a second.
We love you, bro. We love you wholeheartedly.
We do.
I'm me. I'm Joe. Subscribe to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, wherever you get your podcasts. I am on the internet. I'm on Twitter at JLFB96 and on Instagram at JLFB1996. And someone else go.
I'm Ellie. You can find me on this podcast. I plugged the podcast at the general meeting, and my partner said he found it distasteful. So maybe I'll just let Joe do that for now.
Oh. I want to hear about this
it.
controversy.
Shameless promotion gets results.
I think it was tasty. I think it was tasty.
Very tasty.
It's very tasty.
Oh, fuck would you do if you're at the
Stop.
Jesse, go.
I am Jesse, and you can find me on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/contingent-Boston. I guess you can't really find me there. You can find my music there. Also,
maybe we could just find you floating around the internet.
Right.
You can find pictures of your cat.
This is the floating signifier.
And the logo.
Remember to hit up comrade-rosie.org. Go to that Getting Involved tab and pick one or more initiatives to donate
to mutual aid.
Donate to the mutual aid group.
Good for you.
Or just just reach out to him, and like if you can just give a little bit of money, or even it might be a crazy idea, but you could even volunteer. You know, you gotta help some people.
Yeah,
you could save some.
Want to do it? Just do it. It's pretty
and
good.
I don't want to get too much of a big head here, but this working group actually we are currently going to do like a socks and undies donation drive drop to homeless shelters, and hopefully give some much needed resources to people struggling on Mass Ave because they have fallen through the cracks. Hardcore solidarity with my fellow addicts, recovering or not.
We're on Twitter. We're also on Instagram, and we're on Patreon. This again, we're going to have some exclusive Patreon content from this episode. Go to those various places. They are at Epoch Incredulity. We're on YouTube's at the Epoch of Incredulity. We're on Facebook at just the Epoch of Incredulity. Just search for that. Is there anything else? I don't know. Go to our Patreon. Please give us some money. We'll give you some content, and we will be friends forever.
We'll say your name on the podcast.
We'll say your name on the
Discord.
show. You'll get on the Discord. We'll make fun of you, but we'll say your name on the show. We won't make fun of you.
We'll definitely make fun of you. I don't know about
you and my, you know.
We'll get to know you well enough
by
that
accident.
it won't be.
You got to be able to
offensive.
hack it. You know, that's the thing. You know.
It'll be like friendly ribbing by that point.
But again,
you won't care. It'll be great.
It'll be in
Go
jest.
to comrade-rosie.org. Get a great thing to do. And as always, enjoy your Epoch. Thank you. Guitar solo, melodic singing. I feel like we didn't make fun of Ruth Bader Ginsburg enough, by the way.
Yeah.
Didn't.
That fucking corpse. Fuck her. Like, what is, like, entitled little, like, everything you're... I don't want to, like, retire. This is definitely fucking gonna be. But I don't even... I'm not gonna retire until it's, like, the first fucking, like female president and all this shit. It's like, shut up.
It's over.
I want to be around as long as Brandeis did, and I don't really care what the repercussions of that are.
Yes.
It's not like she's
Fuck
like
is wrong with her?